Pull up in motorcades. I got a show today. It's all I'm trying to do. Hustle and motivate. Choppers a throwaway. Hustle the overweight. That's why they follow me, huh? They think I know the
Some
way.
of us is winners and twins a loser.
Twin got a hat. You ain't got no hat. Twin got a hat. You ain't got no hat.
Hey man, 2 words, 7 letters. Okay, 2 words, 7 letters. That's what I got for you. All right, man. Saturday came and went. Vegas, decent night of boxing. We got the return of Charles Conwell and Paul Kroll. We haven't seen Charles Conwell since he lost his last fight last year against the guy who eventually ended up fighting Xander Zayas for the 154 title. Xander goes on champion. We all know how that goes. We had Conwell's first return back in the ring. With a year off, did we see anything different?
Nope.
Yeah, godly, still smothering the punches. Just leaning over. He's a heavy worker. He works good. That's cool. But yikes. Shout out to Paul Kroll. You know, he was undefeated. He was in there fighting, but he was mentally broke. I want to say about round 5 when he realized what nothing going. So
Shit. Conwell gonna be there too. That way too. A few more fights.
because it ain't. Yeah, it ain't. Yeah, it didn't. He looked better and for him, but it's still the same, if that makes sense. Like nothing, there was nothing new. He does it better, but it still wasn't still wasn't nothing new. I'm not calling home about this fight.
Nope.
Yeah. The fight after that, Raul Curiel versus Quinton Randall. And godly, how many times can one man take in a boxing match where we've seen Quinton outside of the Brian Norman Jr. fight? We've seen this man against contenders or prospects. I ain't gonna say prospects. Those guys are on their way. And the judges literally take it from that man. One judge didn't even give him a round.
Gave oh, she flushed it. Raw flush, nothing.
Just shout out to the one judge that had it a draw. I had it a draw. I'm cool with that. And unfortunately, all of social media as well had it that way at worst. I don't even
Hey
know what else to
man,
say.
anytime one of the judges got it to draw and the other judge has all 10 rounds for the other fighter, like what are we doing? Like who's slipping the envelope with the money under the table, or who got the bottle of Hennessy? Or no, she was drinking vodka. Who got the bottle of vodka under the table? Cause like what's going on here? How you had one judge is split to a draw, the other judge is within what 2 or 3 rounds, and then you have one judge that just gives it a wash. That's crazy.
That's nasty work, dog. That was so nasty. Um, Shout out to Quentin, man, because you didn't deserve that, bro. No fighter deserves that, and it hurts worse just to see it from your partner. Like he didn't deserve that, bro. The co-main event: Raymond Muratalla, Robson Conceicao. Morlalia performed. He outworked Conceicao in his first fight. I want to say at this 35 weight class. Conceicao showed himself like proud, you know, from taking a bigger man's punch. Conceicao had been active, so for people, I don't know if people paid attention to that, but he had been active in Brazil. He had fights and stuff like that, so he wasn't out of shape. He wasn't a dead man walking. He was still in that fight. Did he lose the rounds? Oh, for sure. Like we ain't arguing the judges' scorecards, but he is absolutely still gonna be a good journeyman former champion for whatever it is. He did win the belt from Oshaki, so we can say anybody can say what they want, but he is a former champion. But he is gonna do a good job, I think, in that 135-pound division. Because if Mortalia, who was hitting him flush as the bigger man, could not take him out, I I don't see why Conceicao can't still be serviceable at 135.
Yeah. Uh, they'll find somebody to put him in there with, and he'll give them a good effort, good showing. Mortalia, he was something like the Terminator, just walking through some shit. He was getting hit with some shit too, and it ain't really matter to him. Like he said, this was his last fight at that weight, and he moving up. So be interested to see if he's still trying to walk through some of those punches at a higher weight class.
Yeah, that is gonna be the interesting part. And I might have to go back and look at the IBF rankings and see who got next for that 135, or is Abdullah or somebody, if they can fight for the vacant and somebody unify, and then we could really get things moving right along in the division. Because all it takes is
Mhm.
one person to grab that second one while it's free, and that changed the whole landscape for everything instantly. So, but good for Raymond Muratalla. Uh, you've done your job. You won the belt. You defended the belt a couple times. Hey, go ahead. You feel like you need to move up? Go ahead, bro. It's cool. You didn't miss weight. Tell you that thing. You didn't miss weight like some folks we know. Uh, you you didn't miss weight or anything. So shout out to you for that, and we'll see you at 140 for your next fight. Main event fight. Um, the whole thing is premise. This fight card premised on here. William Zepeda defeats Lamont Roach. In my eyes, 9-3. Um, in a it was a good fight. It just Lamont Twin said it was a 60-40. Twin, was it the 60-40 you thought? I mean, we both said you said the 60-40. I said I didn't think he could punch at the same pace or counter pace that Shakur did. What did now that it was all said and done from your 60-40, what did you see from both?
I thought Roach was gonna be a little sharper and have a little more sting with his punch to back him up a little bit. I still had him throwing a whole bunch of punches, but I thought Roach was gonna try to back him up a little bit more than what he did. So no, it wasn't 60-40 in the actual fight. It was more like 80-20. And one of my homeboys, he was like, "This not the same Roach that fought Tank," and I was like,
Yes,
it
it is.
kind of is
Yes, it is.
because Tank don't throw a bunch of punches. Like
Mm-hmm.
that game plan Roach put in last night was basically what he did against Tank, but Tank only throws once or twice, maybe. You'd be lucky to get a 3-punch combo out of Tank.
Mm-hmm.
Zepeda, we looking at 7 and 8. So it was the same Roach. It was just a different opponent, and that opponent didn't allow for that. So
And that shows
Zepeda,
you also how much less that Pitbull Cruz threw than Zepeda as well. I think they both are high value. I'm coming to you heavy kind of swingers. Zepeda does it straightforward, where Pitbull does it
right.
wide with hooks. Um,
And that's the difference. Pitbull don't know the word jab. Never seen it.
yeah, he do. He
Man, he ain't looking for that. He don't care nothing about that.
he put it out there just to. That's all that's
he
about
used
all
that
he
as
did.
a whip or an anchor to throw
And
a
that's
hook. You know.
about it. But as far as Zepeda took his year off from Shakur and learned. That's what I did see. I did see a man that took time off to Yes, he's a valiant puncher, but what I saw was slower feet to get to his spots, sit there, and then throw 5, 6, 7, 8 punches sharper. I saw a man opening his stance up to keep his balance when he got to those spots to throw those punches and not lean over as much, fall over and miss in space and place than he did against Shakur. That's a man that took a loss and said, I see what I could have done better. Let me practice on mentally forcing myself to take that extra 3 to 4 inches of my feet out to keep my balance versus I'm walking my back foot up and I'm walking my back foot up as I'm throwing, and then now I'm leaning over somewhere. I saw a man who learned very well from not only just Shakur, but his 2 fights with Tevin Farmer. I did see a man who said, okay, I gotta fix this because obviously they're gonna try to pick me apart from what those 2 guys did. I can't let it happen a third time. So shout out to Tevin Farmer for sure, who should have a win over William Zepeda and should have a win over Raymond Muratalla. Shout out to Tevin Farmer because that shows you, I think what we saw there was just how elite Tevin Farmer really was for the time frame that he came back and fought those guys, and how hard it is necessarily to beat those guys as well. You have to have a special type of skill. And Lamont Roach is still a special fighter. There's no questions about that. To Twins' point, it was the wrong game plan. Volume countering should have been the camp. Even but shout out, Lamont also admitted we thought he was a one-trick pony, and he proved us wrong by making half steps. He made angle adjustments. He stood his ground. How he moved around the ring, that's acknowledgement of skill and game from one fighter to the next. So I think that's something that people could pay attention to moving forward for Williams and Zepeda. He is 100% developing. So Robert Garcia and them are doing a good job over there in Oxnard for their camp. Now that he's at 135 champ, what does Lamont Roach do now first?
Shit. The thing about Roach is the way he looked at the first 3 rounds. You could have put damn near anybody else from 135 in that ring except Zepeda, and Roach would have did way better.
For
It was just
sure.
Roach wasn't prepared to keep up with that volume. If you put in a puncher that's another counter puncher or somebody that doesn't output that much on offense like Zepeda, Roach would have did fine. He probably would have won depending on who the opponent is. 95% of the people in 135 he would have beat yesterday. But I don't know. Uh Between 130 and really 147 is really so janky because they keep jumping weights now and looking for the money fights, and so we don't know who's gonna fight where actually. So I really don't know what's next for Roach, but I think he's still in the game. I think he still can get a big fight. It might not be a title shot, but he'll be at least a co-main on his next fight, and he could.
I honestly think he should go back to Pro Box with Gary Johnson and them, especially now that they got the subscription of $5. Pay your $5 to watch Pro Box for sure, because I'm definitely paying for them cards. But now that they have a bigger budget over there at Pro Box and stuff like that, they're fooling with to get bigger fights. I think he's perfectly exactly where he's going to be at. He can get 1 to 2 more fights on Pro Box, and we're still going to watch him. And the thing is he's probably going to go over there and get knockouts, and then still show that he is very serviceable. As a champion and a former champion. Like he's nowhere near out of boxing. It was just the wrong game plan against the opponent whose style can uh overdo what he does best. At Roach's best and Williams and Pater's best, the styles are just what they were. You can't outstyle a man who's countering that well unless you are just a freak of nature like Shakur Stevenson. But even then, Shakur threw 4, 5, 6 punches at William Zepeda to neutralize the 6 that Zepeda was throwing ahead of him. So
And and that's the other thing that I saw some people they were getting it, but I don't think they quite could get there. Like if you compare Shakur and Roach, do just looking at that fight, you can understand. Even if Roach, if he kept that game plan, Roach was getting hit too much. Do you know how hard it is for somebody to get out the way and for Shakur to
man,
get out the way and counter?
yeah, all in the
So
same breath.
and I was looking about round five. I was like, Rose getting hit too much because even if this goes 12 and Rose doesn't go down, as Zepeda never lands a big shot, this activity, based off what the judges were looking for earlier in the day, that activity was going to win Zepeda the fight either way it went. So he just didn't have enough activity to keep up.
Yeah. And for Zepeda, the world is his. Abdullah Mason was there. So we see, we know how young boy get down. So he might want something to say in a couple months.
Somebody going to sleep, they fight.
Because Abdullah
That
like to get hit too. So that's a
it's,
whole different ball game.
it's about to be all offense.
So yeah. I ain't got no defensive matchup for nobody in that fight, actually. I what did they do best? Yes. That's all I'm gonna say. That's literally all I'm gonna say. But we'll see what happens now. If Shakur comes back down or whatever, and never mind. Appreciate y'all recap. This week coming up, we got the ladies on ESPN. Dallas is on Sharita Metcalf. She is having another fight. She's got, I think, an 8 rounder. I want to say her return to the ring again, and um, Shernika Johnson and Dina Thurston. That's going to be a fantastic fight, I think. So we'll see what's up with the ladies. But with that being said, great weekend of boxing. Appreciate y'all.